Hi, you're Marshalling, and it seems I am doing a video that's different from the usual. So 2 weeks ago I decided to buy Yes'o, a game that had been on my radar ever since professional video watcher Asmongold played it almost a year to now. Then I got distracted with things and I never got around to playing it, but as I said, I somehow remembered the game and bought it. Now, I know you don't want the whole backstory of my life, so let's address the elephant in the room. Is Elder Scrolls Online better than World of Warcraft? And to discover that, I'm going to need to play the game. But on contrast to most other games I buy, I made sure I watched basically nothing of the game on YouTube, as I also wanted to have experience without recording. I played an Argonian warden for my first character. And after a week of playing him, I thought it would be better to start out a new character, an Orc Dragonite. But to play him, you need to create him, which leads us into the first segment, character creation. While WoW has a fairly simple creator with 13 races plus 8 allied races split into 2 factions, Yes'o has an astounding roster with 9 basic races plus 1 DLC split into 3 factions. You might think that WoW would take the point here, but I'll get to that later, because when you check the classes you might think 4 classes plus 2 DLC classes, how does Yes'o even compare to WoW? But then you click customize. Now, while WoW has a simple bar of predefined hairstyles, skin colors and faces, Yes'o knocks it out of the park. You can literally customize almost everything in the body, from forehead slopes to even foot size, and let's not even get into the posterior dimensions. I would say that Yes'o takes the point here. Now that you have a character, new players need a starting experience, don't they? When you first log into a character, you are on this ship and yada yada, a cannonball hits you, you get captured, and you get a small starting experience where you learn to pick up things on the ground and basic combat class skills, but that's for later. Compared to current WoW, it's a bit better. In WoW they just throw you in, no explanations, then dog-eat-dog world. Although WoW is a bit easier to understand than Yes'o, the reason why I said current is because there is allegedly going to be a new starting zone in the next expansion where they, get this, enslave you and you have to learn basic stuff like picking things from corpses and attack. Where have I heard this? Until then, I think that Yes'o gets the point. By this point, let me tell you that I've played WoW for over 7 years, and I might be a bit biased. And I may not let WoW go down this easily. After I leave the tutorial, we can go 2 ways into the video, combat or questing. Let's go with combat first. It's in this category that Yes'o contrasts the most with WoW. WoW's combat is and has been the same for its 15 years. Click on enemy and cast spells / start auto-attacking. Yes, raids have mechanics like stacking, spread and cooperation, avoiding fire, playing football, tanking and spanking, tank swapping, managing stacks, which I guess is the same, bursting, going to the bosses inside. I could go on forever, but all it is just making you not able to just stand still and do your rotation. Even though Disc Priests, Survival Hunters and maybe Feast Wearers, to a certain extent maybe the most fun specs, they are still just pressing a button, waiting for the bar to fill, and do it again with extra steps in between. And for melee, just do it with instant cast abilities, which absolutely destroys your keyboard. You should see my old keyboard. While in Yes'o, Zenimax actually did the unspeakable and made attacks mostly AoE or directional, with the auto attack being you pressing the attack button. They did intricate things like holding down left click to make the attack stronger, rolling to dodge, and shielding actually doing a damn. And even at a low level you can still get some sick combos with both class and weapon skills. I also think that the stamina bar is a cool addition, making you think about 3 resources at the same time, but the game having so many things to do can sometimes be jarring. In my opinion, I think that also gets the point. But now we're going into WoW's territory. The time to praise this game is over, because in terms of questing, WoW is the goddamn king. WoW is well known for its divide between classic and retail, but when other games come bursting out the door, we unite. Wow, this is cringy. It has a perfect balance between fetch quests and actually rewarding players through quests that could get anyone insane. I'm talking about you, Mallet of Sulfurak. Yes, those quests are very scarce and far between, and even if you find one, you don't know if it's going to get you a skill point. And I'm not even going to talk about the ERP we have to go through to even get the quest. I know you can just continuously press E, but that makes me feel bad for the person only saying the first word of each paragraph. WoW takes the point, woo! And continuing to the combat side, the skill lines. Although WoW was way more customizable in the past, classic through Kata, its current version of specs and talents is lackluster, being conservative. But since we're bunching up together classic and retail, I am able to say that the talent trees were at the best in BC, or maybe Kata, and they provided great customizability and creative comps. I would even say better than ESO's. Its skill tree does have great customizability, with you being able to invest in passives and active abilities, but the classes themselves have very few original abilities. Yes, ESO has the option of having ultimates. What's this, Overwatch? and you being able to invest in world abilities like soul shards, weapon and armor passives, vampirism, being a werewolf, ledger domain, steal things, even racials, even all the guilds. But even if it has all that, yes, so instead of investing in class identity, it concentrates in character identity. And that might be alright for you, but I like being a hunter that has a bow and shoots wind arrows and marked shots like an AK-47. What do you mean that was invasion? How would I know? I haven't touched marksmanship since PFA came out. Because marksmanship and beast mastery are kinda cringe.
We got him.
All in all, your character in ESO can be almost anything you like. Have a sorcerer tanking? Possible. Have a dragon knight healing? Possible, I guess. A knight blade tanking? Very probable. Like currently I am an Argonian warden that has a sword and shield that bashes enemies and pulls them in with a grappling hook to then put ice spikes in the ground while shooting pterodaxes at them. Like... Although I don't agree with it, yes, so does take the point. Let's continue to the world. When I first heard people talking about this game, I got the idea that Tamriel was giant, and well, I believed it. But then disaster struck. I booted up the game and started going through the island where we started. I don't remember the name like. Shit. I thought to myself, oh, this place is kinda boring. I should go to another zone since the world is so big. It was then that I realized that half of the world was DLC locked. I mean, I understand why. The game is 9 years old, and it needs new content, but it's kind of sucky that when you're seeing the map for places to go and have to think, is that DLC? Is that DLC? When you finally find a place you like, it's like another whole debacle trying to see how you get there, because the boats are in the most inconvenient locations. Also, let me tell you about loading screens, more like loading screams, because they take so goddamn long. And adding insult to injury, there is one between each zone. Now, in WoW, you get the world divided in continents, each separated by boats, portals, etc. But at least the continents are big and have several zones in them, including major cities. And also the boats are only in certain places, enabling you to make connecting boats. Also in BFA they made a portal room in each of the capitals, so now you don't have to do the Harlem Shake every time you want to get to the Caverns of Time. That was using the Dalaran Earthstone they gave in Legion, go to the Valley of Eternal Blossoms, the whole Dalaran, and in Dalaran you had a portal in the tower to the Caverns of Time. Oh, now I'm remembering all the times in Legion where we had a portal room. Good times. But this video isn't about WoW, okay? Now that is done with the environment and the immersion. Yasuo's specialty, or is it? The game's main premise is that you can pick up almost anything from the ground, you have reputation with the guards, you can go be an outlaw, and crafting actually makes you stronger, and like Warcraft, that could go all in depth, but this video is already long enough and we still have 3 other categories. So I'm just going to give you a montage of me doing cool stuff in the world. And roll drums please. The point goes to Warcraft. Now we have a world, combat and players. That sometimes escalates into PvP. After you've done the leveling and some world exploration, you think to yourself, what else can I do in this game? The answer is some good old-fashioned player versus player. So, you have Cyrodiil, a giant zone, the biggest in Tamriel actually, and it's basically just sieging and brute primal raw combat. And when you're tired of pawning noobs, you can go into 3v3v3 random battlegrounds. They're basically arenas with an objective, like getting points by capturing flags, you know the gist of things. And in WoW, you have roughly the same thing. In the past, we had things like Wintergrasp, Ashran, Tolbarad, and even War Mode, which turns the open world into a battlefield. Apart from that, we have random battlegrounds with things like Capture the Flag, King of the Hill, Getting Cards, pure raw PvP in the Valley of Mogushan, and you also had in the past great epic battlegrounds like Isle of Contest and Alterac Valley. I would say that both WoW and ESO have a similar battleground simulation in terms of the objective, but this is all dependent on the combat. That is why, since ESO's isn't that good due to the unfair nature of people that are better than me, okay, it's not that, it's that there are some broken things in game, I still think that WoW's battlegrounds and faction dynamic is better. So that's 1 point to Warcraft, baby. And in every MMORPG there is always something in common. PvE. PvE. Say it with me. Player versus environment. WoW is well known for its epic raid and boss battles. Through its whole 15 years of raids, dungeons and instances, most of the battles and raids still stand up. Great bosses such as Veilustraz, Grand Magistrix, Alicent, Onyxia, High Tinker Mekator, Operator Thogar, I could just list dozens, but you get the point, and of course the classic Ragnaros. And great raids such as Battle of the Zaralor, Ice Cream Citadel, Blackrock Foundry, Throne of Thunder, Karazhan and Old War. I could jump on the bandwagon of, yes, oh my god, wow, such raids, fairy bosses, yes, fairy mechanics, but through my 5 years of being at max level, I've come to fall in love with this game and its content. But that's for another video. So after all that talk, does ESO do that? Well, I've only played a couple of dungeons, and first of all, while in Warcraft the group is 5 people, in ESO there are only 4, oh my god, a triple, wow, but apart from that, I haven't done many delves and don't even talk to me about trials and arenas. Although I haven't done much PvE, I think that ESO's PvE still pales in comparison to WoW's. And you can do nothing about it, boy. This section is going to be short. You know why? Well, throughout the video I have been using the soundtrack from ESO and Warcraft, and I think you might have heard things that you may like. But I have to say that WoW's is a bit better, I'd say, but some tracks I'd like to put on a pedestal are, for example, the Goblin theme, a personal favorite of mine. It perfectly encapsulates the essence of being a goblin, with its high notes and the theme of being sneaky and tricksy, as the goblin are. And the other is, in my opinion, the best soundtrack from all of World of Warcraft, Heart of Pandaria past 510. This literally sends shivers down my spine, and if it doesn't for you, then you're just a cold-hearted bastard. Now, let's finish the video. Okay, ESO is a great MMORPG in itself, but what we want to know is if it's better than WoW. But first, if you don't want to hear anything from me, I asked a couple, 2 streamers for their opinions on ESO versus WoW. And I quote, "The leveling experience and the player housing is good. You can level up in any zone with the level scaling." From Taliesin Nevitel to Games 2020. It's a very rich and compelling world that sucks you in. Nixxiom 2019. But well, I have something I never told you, a trick up my sleeve, something so great I couldn't possibly make it up. Because at the very moment I booted up OBS to record these clips, I already knew the answer. Remember I had played 2 other characters before I created Warcraft web? Well, I already knew the answer to the question. What do you mean, Uber Danger? Already made this a month and a half ago. 4 months ago. I couldn't possibly have made a reference to a video series I've been watching for 8 months? That would be crazy. But without all that, I already said Yasuo is great. It excels in making you feel immersed in the world, as well as being a good MMO to fall back on. And well, it is basically free to play, once you buy the base game. It does have a subscription plan, but you can do very well without it. Unlike WoW, where after Shadowlands and its level squish, I'm seeing a grim path for the starter edition. And well, Warcraft is slowly losing subscribers and fans. Yasuo is growing by the minute, starting off with an abysmal launch, kind of a polar opposite from WoW, but in the end I'm always going to stick with the game I've been playing for over 7 years. Just logging into my old characters gives me a dose of dopamine each time I do it. Just remembering the good old days of leveling my enhancement shaman in Hillsbrad, or my rogue being an archaeologist. Oh no, it's doing it again. And by that, WoW has infinity points due to memories. GG. But would I recommend Yasuo to another person? Well, I'm just going to give you the facts. Yasuo has a very good and well accepted leveling experience, it has great customization of your character, the combat is very fluid, immersion is plentiful, the lore is giant, although not as big as WoW, I think. Microtransactions are barely necessary, the art style is effective, the soundtrack has some bangers, and most importantly, you can kill the crabs, annihilate those crustaceans. If you see yourself liking those things, go for it. So, this video was very different from the usual, but I hope you liked it. I have created a subreddit and a Discord server. If you want to check it out, links in the description. Also, I think I'll be streaming Warcraft and maybe Yasuo in the next few weeks, so if you want to catch the streams, give me a follow on Twitch. Link is also in the description, but yeah, that's all from me. See you next time.